Welcome, friends, it's the MovieFilm Podcast. MovieFilm Podcast, enjoy the show. Zaki and Brian are talking about the movies. MovieFilm Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to MovieFilm. This is episode 262, and if you are hearing that version of what I just said, that's the third time I had to say it, because there's a little peek behind the curtain. Twice now, I got out of breath starting the sentence. Yeah. So if you want to know how out of shape Zaki Hassan is in 2023, I get winded talking.
And as I cough, I mean, maybe that's another peek behind the curtain of why it's been so darn long since we've been talking. we were just talking off air saying that, we have stretches where things, work gets busy or we get sick. But I think this last, 3 weeks or something since we've recorded? I mean, it's been work and getting sick for me. And yeah. I know you've been busy on your end, and it's just, man, this was like blink and suddenly it's almost February. It's crazy.
Suddenly we almost missed a whole month.
Yeah. But we both got sick, so I'm happy that you're feeling better, and hope my cough is beginning to subside. And when I say sick on my end, sick again. So that was not fun, but, and you also, wait, can I ask you about something?
Yes.
This is something I would have asked off air, but we'll do it here if you don't mind. You have a new addition to the family, and I want to hear about it.
I do. In the last month, this isn't something I've talked about, but we've been expecting a bouncing brand new kitten.
Yeah. How cute.
We are now a cat family, and I'm not a cat person, not because I don't like cats. I like cats quite a bit, but I'm allergic to cats.
Yeah. So
we just never got a cat. And, this past summer when we were in Chicago, we were visiting a cousin who has cats, and they mentioned the existence of hypoallergenic cats.
Right.
And when you say hypoallergenic, people think of like Mr. Bigglesworth, post post freezing. It's not that. It's just they're bred in such a way where they don't. Their saliva doesn't give off the thing that makes you allergic or whatever it is. Anyway, So my oldest son Hamza, he made it his mission to just find a hypoallergenic cat, and these things are very, very expensive. And I said, well, I ain't paying for it. So if you guys can figure out, scrape together the funds to make that happen, and you can find a cat, then go to town, And so they had their little lemonade stand selling cups for a nickel. No,
I was going to say, are you serious? Wow, I love that.
This is not the 1960s.
Okay. I wasn't sure whether that was true or not. That's so funny. Yeah, okay.
Doesn't it feel though like the lemonade stand is itself an artifact that we associate with like TV from the 1980s?
100%. I mean, I did run one once. Did you?
But I didn't, because I was living overseas. But I feel like you did it because you saw it on like 100%. Syndicated reruns of TV shows, right?
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
And then you tried selling your dad's beer. That didn't work.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I was just thinking about that. I was thinking about that because when you said it was a 1960s thing, then I think, well, it was such a trope that The Simpsons skewered it by having Bart sell his dad's beer.
That's right.
Like it was already ready. It wasn't like, oh, this is something Bart would do. It's like, we've got to like subvert this because it's such like a silly thing. Yeah. So that's crazy.
No, but they saved up and everything, and a lot of stuff.
Wait, how? Do you mind me asking? I mean, like chores or like what?
Well, for the last couple of years, whenever they've been getting money for holidays and birthdays and things like that, they were just squirreling it away for getting like
squirrels initially, but no.
Yeah, exactly. a pack of squirrels that would go out and do their bidding, which is concerning. No, but Hamza basically like convinced them all to put their money in. So the four boys, to pay for the cat. Yeah. And I mean, you get one from a shelter, that would be the preferable way to go because, for a variety of reasons, primarily it's, they need a home, and also it's cheaper. But if you get one that's hypoallergenic, they have to be bred that way. It's a lot more expensive. I mean, you're talking 4 digits.
Right. Oh, wow.
and so these guys worked really hard, and we just happened to find one very close to us. A lot of stuff fell into place, but he is now sleeping right next to me.
So I was gonna say, how is he fitting in?
You know, he's just made the place his own. Yeah, but I said earlier, he's 6 months old. He's a big Siberian, and this kid is like Garfield size already. And he's still a kitten. And I'm like, I don't think that's right. But yeah, technically, no matter how big they are, if they're under a year, they're a kitten. And I'm like, well, this guy, he's going to be like walking on hind legs pretty soon. He's going to be hunting me in a cornfield. Given enough time, you know.
That would be funny if you just left him to your kids' devices and they only know what they've seen on TV. So they're feeding him lasagna, you know, and be like,
yeah, that's the concern.
Yeah. Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah. So that's been fun. That's been nice. And we have a fish from before. And I know I measure the lifespan of this fish from the day that I watched Top Gun Maverick, because I've heard the story. If you remember, I picked up Hamza. He brought the fish in the little paper cup. Do you remember that? I picked him up from school, and then we had to go back. So the fish has hung in there all this time. Oh,
yeah, that's great.
But knock on wood, and he's doing it, and he's a big fat ass now.
Oh, really?
And yeah, he's a big fish now. Like he could, before when we got him, he was just little. He fit in like a Dixie cup.
Right.
But I'm just
he's
like,
in a tank or something, I assume. Then, right?
We have a tank for him in the kitchen, and I'm just like, are there going to be like Looney Tunes-esque shenanigans between the fish and the cat? You know?
Yeah, he's like, fishing pole with a $1 bill, trying to get.
Yeah, this is a whole new world for me. So now I have to see if cartoons have lied to me. You know?
I can't wait to hear about it, honestly.
But here's something interesting. I wanted to mention this real quick. I at the start of this month, I took my older two kids, because they have January birthdays, and I was like, I want to do something fun with the San Francisco Symphony, because they do like where the music plays along with the movie. You know?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, those are fun.
And those are. I did that down in SoCal with you back in 2016, and we watched Star Wars.
Yeah.
So they showed Jurassic Park here.
Oh, that's a great one.
It's like a perfect one, right? And I said, like, you want to go to a movie that you know really well, and you know all the music really well.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, because you of course want to watch the movie. You want to experience seeing an orchestra live, accompanying the movie, but you also, like any good concert, you want to recognize what you're listening to, so you can kind of appreciate. Right. Like when you hear even like minor deviations, because you know the score so well, like one violin is just a little slower than it is on the score or something, and you're like, oh yeah, like this is happening now. It's being created in front of me in concert, no pun intended, with the movie. It's
right,
really cool.
So super great experience. And again, this is not an old sentiment, certainly on this show, but goddamn, is Jurassic Park a good movie?
It really is. It really, really is. It's one of my favorites in my lifetime. Absolutely. Yeah. You just don't get tired of it. It's just, isn't that kind of an amazing quality to certain movies? I was thinking about this when TNT or TBS or whatever it is, like, put Star Wars on all weekend. Mm-hmm. I always stop on it. Always.
Right.
And it doesn't mean I'm going to watch all of it, but I never pass it. And it's just this magical quality that certain films have, at least for me, for us, I think. And Jurassic Park is one of those.
Yeah, it's a movie like I always enjoyed, but I've said on the show, like, my appreciation grew over time, because I wasn't as in love with it when it first came out, but it became more and more something. And then it's, this now, going to see it with Hamza, 10 years ago, we went and saw the 3D release.
Yeah. Right.
And so for me, that movie just represents this whole other specific journey, where even now he's like, after we watch it, he's like, it is still just the best movie I've ever seen.
Man, that just makes my heart swell. Yeah, I love it.
Now, speaking of the best movies I've ever seen, I also revisited U.S. Marshals 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And that is not one of the best movies I've ever seen.
I revisited that a couple years ago, and I remember not being super taken with it.
Yeah.
And I saw that you rewatched it, and I have to admit, it made me want to watch it again because I still believe in the promise of it, because I love that character so much,
Well, here's what I'm going to say. It is not a bad movie, I don't think.
Yeah.
It is
probably the lens you watch it through, right?
That's really it had the supreme misfortune of not being The Fugitive.
Yeah.
And so the question then is, how much of a cudgel is that to use against it? Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And I also wonder if there's another measuring stick for me that I would think of, which is maybe at the time, yes, measuring it against The Fugitive or certain other like exceptional 90s action thrillers. I didn't find it came as close to those. But nowadays, as I'm finding certain things, just like movies sort of steer in different directions and they don't do as much on the ground, non-visual effects action films. I wonder if I would have a reappreciation, sort of like the end of Don't Look Up, DiCaprio, where like, we don't know how good we had it, like.
Yeah, it's first of all, I think you and I have talked about how we just adore The Fugitive. Like
love it.
That movie.
One of my favorites.
That movie is our language. And I think as we've gotten older, we've sort of realized that maybe that was just kind of our language. Like it's not as right. Like,
yeah.
Because one thing I remember is going to see U.S. Marshals, like when it came out opening day. I remember very distinctly. I was at College of DuPage and I went to Rice Lake to go see it.
Yeah.
And I come, and I got back and I was talking to somebody afterwards. I was like, yeah, I just watched U.S. Marshals. They're like, oh, what'd you think? I was like, man, they killed off Newman. And he's like, I don't know who that is. I'm like, Newman, man. I think that was my realization. Like, okay, maybe not everybody really knows The Fugitive that well, but come on, Newman. Sam told him to cut his hair, and he did, man.
It's so true. Yes,
but it's not a good follow up to The Fugitive. I will say that. However, it is a perfectly acceptable entry in the Tommy Lee Jones yelling at people to get stuff done genre, which populated cinemas from like 93 to 2000.
Yes. Yeah, he had like a run there, right? Where I mean, can I say it's unlikely, like him as a leading man and, and Tommy Lee Jones barks orders at people movies.
Yeah. Come on, y'all, let's do this. Like, it was just a lot of that. That's the whole genre. They should do a box set. Tommy Lee Jones. Come on, y'all, let's do this. A 5-movie collection or whatever.
Collection. Yeah.
So that's it's. You talk about Star Wars on TNT. This is U.S. Marshals is a TBS movie.
Totally.
If you're channel surfing, you happen to see it on TBS. Watch like 10 minutes of it. You'll probably get something enjoyable out of it.
I can see getting around to it again. Yeah, I kind of want to look at it again.
It's definitely, it's weird because I feel like they could have kept going. Like they could have done more with this team, and that does feel like a shame that we didn't get that.
Totally. Yeah.
Anyway, that's me. What have you seen lately?
Well, right off the bat, I wanted to mention in Brian's book corner. You and I think both really enjoy these sort of like coffee table books for certain films, like The Making of Star Wars and The Making of Indiana Jones. And I have like a Close Encounters and a Jaws one. And I find that when I buy them, I like look at them and I look at all the pictures and then I'll sit down and read like a couple passages from it. And then I just kind of put it back on the shelf. And a really comprehensive E.T. Ultimate Visual History book came out not long ago. So I bought it because of course I would. And one night I was just saw it on the shelf and I was kind of sitting there done with work and I thought, oh, let's crack this open. And like I said, I don't read them cover to cover, but for some reason I went right to page 1 and just started reading it. And the next thing I knew, I'd read 50 pages. And it was written by a friend of the show, Cassine Gaines, who we had spoken to him about the making of Back to the Future, a book he had written on that called We Don't Need Roads, which was excellent. And I did read cover to cover. And this one I found, in maybe like 4 nights or something like that, I went through this whole book. And it was, I know, being the person I am, I know a lot about this movie. And excuse me, I found it really, really fascinating. Great interviews, amazing pictures. I loved it. And so I just wanted to, if that sounds interesting to anyone, I mean, this gets like a complete hands down recommendation for me. I think it's worth checking out and enjoying.
And for anyone listening, if you don't know already, E.T. is a beloved artifact for Brian. And I think that right there should serve as a huge validation if Brian is saying how insightful he found this book, given his connection to E.T.
That's the thing that's kind of amazing for fans like us of these particular films, the E.T.s, the Star Wars, the whatever. It's excuse me. We can know so much about these things. We can go on our deep dives, but I'm just astounded that people continue to find new things they can share about them, new pictures I haven't seen. It's I even follow I think it's called like ROTJ Polaroid or photograph or something on Instagram, and it's someone who had something to do with the trilogy, and he just posts these Polaroids and pictures from the sets of the Star Wars films. And I mean, I will never get tired of looking at these things. And so I don't know, it's really cool that these things keep getting produced.
Well, and these books are by Insight Editions, these Ultimate Visual Histories. So I have not ordered the ET one yet, but I mean, I have on my shelf the Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, Jurassic Park Ultimate Visual History, which is from a couple years ago. I actually pre-ordered the Money Pit, the Ultimate Visual History, which I'm.
Are you serious?
Really no, I'm just joking.
I was gonna say this. You said that so deadpan. I was like, wait, that has to be a joke. The Money Pit. That's so good. Oh man. That's great. That's great. Great delivery. Shelley Duvall was not pleased that day.
Shelley Long.
Shelley
Duvall neither, because she watched that movie and she was not happy.
Yeah. No, I mean, that movie's fine. I actually don't have a deep nostalgia for that movie. Do you?
I have no connection whatsoever. I just find the notion of the Ultimate Visual History tickles me.
Yeah, I know.
Like, what is that pitch? You have to go into the book company. So it's the 35th anniversary of the Money Pit, guys.
You remember the Money Pit, right? Yeah.
They're just like, they don't look up. They're like, can you close the door on your way out? And the guy just gets up and leaves.
Right. It'd be funny then too, like Tom Hanks was in that pitch, like he's as enthusiastic about it. Like, you have my full participation. Huh. Not Forrest Gump or yeah.
Good times.
Good times. Well, I before I get into a little more deeper dives on some stuff, I'll just briefly mention I watched, or Federica and I both watched Paddington and Paddington 2, which came out I think in 2014, 2017ish. So I mean, these came out like a while ago. But we had,
so you've never seen them before?
No, and they have such a reputation. I mean, that's right. They're kind of beloved. And have you seen them?
Oh, I adore these movies.
So that was the thing. I mean, we had heard this, and then I thought I had heard even like, I was like Tarantino or someone recently is like, oh yeah, Paddington 2, like the best movie ever. And I'm like, what? Like, who? This movie, like, it's captivated so many people. Like, I gotta know. And so we one day, kind of like a lazy Saturday, we're like, let's just do it. Let's watch both. These movies are absolutely adorable. Like
those I call the Paddington movies Brian Hall movies.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Wait, what do you mean?
Because I'm just like, you would love them. I know I've said that to you because I'm like, they are right in the wheelhouse of the type of thing that would tickle your fancy.
And you are 100% correct. I mean, it's hard going into a movie with, anticipation, let alone like people saying how great something is, like expectations, whatever. And you're like, well, how can this possibly be what everyone's saying it is? It's like unfair to a movie to go into it that way, And I just was completely taken. Like when it started, it's sort of gentle and soft and sweet. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is nice. But then it just becomes so charming and delightful and genuinely heartfelt. And particularly with the first one, I found it kind of, not scary is not the right word, but the villain is very chilling. Like what she wants
Nicole
to do.
Kidman, right?
Nicole Kidman, yeah.
That's right, yeah.
And, it's kind of, I had my parents watch them and they're like, wow, she was, what she wanted to do was kind of intense. And I'm like, yeah, but isn't that great in kids' movies?
That's how it used to be, right?
Yeah, because then there's real weight. You don't want anything that bad to happen to your main character. And then when you see his support system risking their lives to save his, I mean, that's the stuff that when it ends, you carry it with you. You like, I'm remembering how I felt right now as I talk about it. Like,
this is the thing is, Brian, I watch a lot of kids movies, right? And there's two flavors, right? There's the ones that don't have any stakes because they don't want to scare kids, right?
Right.
Or they're the ones that have stakes, but they'll have characters kind of be like, can you believe this shit? Like to wink at the audience.
Diffuse a little bit.
Yeah. And I hate both of those approaches because I point to Paddington. I'm like, Paddington did it. And it's a movie that you can be a little kid or a grown up and you can fully go along on this journey.
Yeah, I like that. I didn't even think about it, but you're right. There's sometimes things, either they're being self-referential because they feel like they need to wink so you don't think they're taking themselves too seriously, or like you said, they're trying to diffuse the tension, but it's like, no, the tension's good. What was I just listening to? Oh, I was listening to the Script Apart podcast, and Tony Kirshner was talking about writing Fabelmans. And he was just talking about Spielberg and the movies he made. And he was talking about scaring kids, but when it's kind of in a healthy way. Like he was talking about reading a book to his niece and it gave her nightmares. And it was like a young book. He wasn't reading like a Stephen King book or something, but like he read her like this book for kids, but it had kind of like an intensity to it and it scared her. And then the parents were upset with him. But he said then the next time he saw the niece, she was like, read it to me again. Like, read it to me again. And she wanted it over and over read to her. And there's just something, it's about like, it is like that moment in Fabelmans, actually, where the young Spielberg, I'm not even going to call him Sammy, like sees that scary thing, the scary train crash at the movies. Yeah. And it gives him bad dreams, but then it inspires him to understand it and to conquer it, And I mean, that's a delicate walk, right? I mean, again, I don't think you want to show your 6-year-old it or something, but like, there's something cool about a movie like Paddington that's like, no, he's in real danger. And it's really cool to see the people who care about him rallying together to save him, I
100% agree.
Yeah. And then Paddington 2, just, I
real quick before you get into Paddington, I feel like I should mention this.
Please.
As we are recording this, I got a text message and it is from my friend Brian Bellumini, who listens to the show. And it just says, where's our January podcast? Recording it right now, buddy.
Yes, it's a coming.
Sorry, go on. Paddington 2.
No, Paddington 2, I would say the thing that stuck with me most out of that one too wasn't actually even the peril as much, even though there is good peril also, but just like the theme about sort of relationships and the effect a person can have on other people. And I just found that really moving too. So I mean, total recommendation for people who, and you don't even need kids to watch these movies. I mean, they're just good stories. So I would say if you haven't seen them, Paddington 2, great.
That's the thing is I think a lot of people are going to be like, oh, Paddington, come on. No. Go see it. You got something really special waiting for you.
Yeah, 100%. And this was supposed to be my brief section, but I also watched a movie called Searching, which came out 2018. And the reason I watched this was there's a sequel out now called Missing. And I saw the trailer before the menu. And the conceit of these movies is there's a mystery. Someone goes in searching, a guy, John Cho, the character he plays, his daughter goes missing, and he doesn't know, what's going on. But the conceit is the whole movie is told through his laptop screen. So we're never with him, walking around. I mean, it's everything we're seeing is through FaceTime calls or emails or Google searches or, he sets up like a camera and is observing something. We're watching what he's observing being recorded. So
there's no third person perspective.
Correct.
The entire movie, if you're sitting in front of your computer seeing notifications and things, that's how the entire movie plays out.
And that's what's so cool. Like in, say, some sort of like thriller, there'd be like a shot of someone in focus and we're like, oh, the bad guy could be anywhere. And then you see someone out of focus emerge in the background. I mean, that's what we're used to seeing, the visual language of those types of movies. And this one, just like you said, we'll be watching him doing something or he's Google searching something. And then a text alert will come up like, you'll never believe blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh, that becomes the equivalent of the person appearing in the background. It's such an idea that I thought would exhaust itself in like 15 or 20 minutes. And I loved this movie. I mean,
wow, no kidding. Okay.
I loved it. I found myself leaning forward. I clapped. I yelled at the screen. I got totally swept up in this. It's that thing where you just can't, you're just like, wow, they did it. They cracked it. They took this idea and they used it to its fullest potential, in so many different ways. And when it was over, I just thought, damn, but this is great. I was like excited to recommend this movie. So I told my parents, my brother, I was like, hey, you guys, you got to watch this. This is great. So
totally. You've not seen Searching yet.
Or Searching is the first one.
No, Missing is the second one. You've not seen Missing
is the
yet.
second one. And I don't know what it's about. I don't want to know anything about it. And maybe this weekend or something, I'll try to go.
Well, I guess we'll be coming back to that then.
So I'll talk a little bit more about a couple of two more movies here. These are Oscar-y movies. Well, one of them I think they thought was going to be an Oscar-y movie. Let's talk about Tar first. Have you seen Tar with Kate Blanchett?
I have not seen Tar.
Okay, so this was one of those movies.
I should say before you get into it, I spent probably far too long assuming that Kate Blanchett was playing a real person.
I hear that a lot about this movie, and I think that makes absolute sense. It's from Todd Field, who apparently the last movie he directed was Little Children, which is crazy. I mean, that's like off the top of my head, maybe 2006 or something. Good movie, very bleak, kind of sad. But anyway, this movie is about a composer, Lydia Tarr, played by Kate Blanchett. And you're right. Like it starts off with her being interviewed, and it's long. I mean, you're seeing, I can't remember who it is, but it's a real journalist interviewing her in front of a crowd. And excuse me, that's how you learn her story. And it's so detailed and filled in that, you would assume like, oh, so this is okay. Like, it's like a biopic or something, but it is not. And what it ultimately becomes about is this person who is very elevated and well respected and wields a lot of power, and from time to time wields that power over people. And then those things start to crumble, and it's sort of, it affects her job, it affects her relationships. It's kind of hard to talk about. I mean, not that it's like spoilery, but I mean, it's a very simple movie. And I've seen some people be like, what's the point of this? And I think why I liked it so much is movies like that can make you feel like, why am I watching this? Like why do I want to spend 20 minutes watching her do a master class in front of students and then saying something kind of rude to one of the students, and then the student, but when it's done well, like you can't look away. And so then it becomes like a real world that you feel like you're inhabiting. And And as you go along and things start to crack, you really, really feel it almost in a different way, like you would for reality versus, like a real cringe versus like watching like a movie where a hero's on a bridge that's about to snap. You know what I'm saying? Like it becomes this more grounded reality that almost feels worse. The cringe and it's so hard. I wouldn't recommend it for everyone. I think if you feel like you'd be bored by it, you probably will. And I don't think that that's like a knock against anyone. Like it's a type of movie, but I just found it really, really well done. Kate Blanchett's well done. There's even like a little ghost story element to it that's really fascinating. And not that there's actually ghosts in the movie necessarily, but like something hangs over the movie, and the filmmakers do a really good job of making you feel that weight. Yeah, it's a really interesting movie. I for people who are interested in that kind of thing, I definitely recommend it. I mean, I see it's back in theaters, and I it's long. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I can imagine it would be hard not to to pull to your phone a little bit. But I personally found myself not wanting to look away because there's a lot of mise en scène with this movie too, where it's wide framing of these theaters and these concert halls, and they become this sort of like almost like cave or something that you're observing these characters living within, and it's just, I don't know. It's sort of hard to like just sort of tell someone about this movie, but I just found it really fascinating.
I think in that same vein, I saw a movie just a couple days ago called Teen Wolf the movie.
Yes,
which I wrote a review of this. This is not a revival of the Michael J. Fox movie from the 80s. This is the MTV show based on that movie. That you're right.
By the way, I work with someone who was excited about this film because she loves the show, and I sent her a picture of the original Teen Wolf wearing sunglasses and a Letterman jacket in the hallway.
She's like, "What the hell is that?"
She was like, "I actually forgot that this is based on something." So, yeah.
So this is
what is it? What's it like?
They're bringing, the show went off the air like 5 years ago, but Paramount Plus is in need of IP, so they decided to dust it off and bring it back as a movie.
Sure. Yeah.
So we have Teen Wolf the movie, which I was asked to review for IGN, and you say that Tar is 2 hours and 40 minutes. Teen Wolf the movie is 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Stop.
To which I say, how effing dare you?
Yeah, right.
I'm not even, I don't have a negative relationship with that show, to whatever extent I've seen it. I thought it was fine, but I'm like, you cannot tell me that this thing needed to be 2 hours and 20 minutes long. And it didn't.
Right.
I just find it amusing that it's just 20 minutes shorter than Academy Award nominee Tar.
So, dude, what is going on? Like, movies are so long these days. I back in my day, no, the next movie I want to talk about is over 3 hours long.
Hubris, the movie, I think it's called, right?
Yeah, Hubris, the movie, yes. Babylon, which I know is a little older news at this point.
I need to hear what you thought. I haven't seen it, but I want to hear your thoughts.
Oh, Zaki, this movie, I like Damien Chazelle. I think I saw Whiplash first. I was there at the beginning.
You put Chazelle on my radar because of Whiplash.
Whiplash is so awesome that I almost don't want to watch it again because I want it to remain what it is in my mind. Like I watched that as a screener in my living room. I didn't even see that in a theater, and I remember leaping out of my chair when it was over. Like I literally leaped out of my seat because it whipped me up into such a frenzy. Like, and so then La La Land, which I liked a lot. First Man, I almost want to revisit because I didn't feel as much for that as I feel other people did.
I completely forgot he did First Man.
Right? By the way, I went to a test screening of that, and my brother and I, when it was over, we're like, it's kind of weird that there's a theremin on the score. Like it feels It makes it feel almost like not grounded and kind of otherworldly. And maybe that's what they wanted. But I was like, I kept noticing it every time it happened. And we both on our comment cards at the end put like, don't know about the theremin. And then no joke, I forget the composer's name, but he won the Oscar for best score that year. And he goes, who knew? A score with a theremin. And I almost was like, is he talking to me?
He just looks at the screen in silence. He just stares at the
camera. But okay, so Babylon, like this is totally a movie up my alley. I mean, it's like I love these Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like hang movies in Hollywood, the craziness of putting a film together. But I said on the show, the trailer wasn't hooking me. It just looked like raucous for raucous sake. And I was like, that's not the appeal for me. Like the appeal for me is what's this about? And I wasn't getting the sense of what it's about. And what it is about is how crazy and wild and, you know, what Hollywood was like when they were making silent movies. And it was the Wild West. I mean, almost quite literally. And then sound is introduced. I mean, if this sounds familiar, like Singing in the Rain, and they name check Singing in the Rain because they have to. How that, you know what I'm saying? I talked to a friend who's obsessed with Singing in the Rain, and she was like, I hate this movie because it is Singing in the Rain. But then what is that? How does that affect these different people and affect filmmaking in Hollywood as a whole? So this movie is nuts. And I have to say, I had a thought that I was so proud of myself, which is so smug. But in the middle of the movie, I was like, oh, this is Chazelle's Southland Tales. So, and what I mean by that, if people don't remember that movie, you know, you had, Richard Kelly, the guy who made Donnie Darko, which was this kind of unexpected cult hit. And then people were like, here's money, make whatever you want. You will have no oversight. And so he threw the kitchen sink and everything else into this movie and made this wild, unfocused, like whatever you want, but sometimes interesting and captivating spectacle. And so I was like, oh, this is Chazelle's Southland Tales. But ultimately, Southland Tales I don't think is really that great.
In that vein, Brian, the thought I had, not having seen the movie, but seeing sort of the narrative, I was like, is this Chazelle's Heaven's Gate?
Sure. I mean, yeah, in the same vein. And I think Southland Tales, just because it's like every freaking idea he has, he throws in there, whether it was worth, you know, or like indulging in certain things. And, you know, but this is the thing. I walked out of it exhausted. By the way, I saw this movie at 10:30 at night. I walked out of the theater at 2 a.m. because that was the only time I could see it. And I really wanted to see it on the big screen. And I was like, I don't know what I think. I know that this was not the best version of this, but like I found in the days afterward, I could not stop thinking about it. And I came to think like, no, I think I liked it. And Margot Robbie is crazy good in this. Very, very good. I mean, every second she's in this movie proves why she's a movie star. Like the way she commands the screen and the things that they ask her to do. Like there's a scene where she's supposed to cry on command and the character's like, okay, and just does it, you know, like, and then something messes up and like you cry again. She's like, okay. And then she just keeps crying on command. Like it's really, really good and fun to watch. And like, there's some really awesome set pieces in this. Like there's a moment where it's showing how silent movies were made, which is, you know, you don't have microphones. So you have all these sets directly next to one another. And it's just chaos. Like everybody's just falling down and breaking things, but it, you know, like right next to one another. And it's so fascinating and fun to see, you know, and there's a really, you know, 15, almost 20-minute set piece of Robbie's character first having to work with a microphone. It's like a short film about how this is crazy for the sound guy. It's crazy for the cameraman because he has to be in a soundproof box that he's sweating his butt off in because the cameras are so loud. And she keeps, you know, if she screws up one thing, it screws up for everyone. If someone else, like, and it's a really funny, interesting. And when it ends, you almost like exhale because it was such like an experience. And then there was another segment where you get this guy who wants to be in movies. He's like enamored with movies and he'd do anything to be on a movie set. And then he, through circumstances, gets to go to a movie set, and this camera breaks, and they're like, get a camera now, like before the sun goes down. And like hundreds and hundreds of people for this war epic are waiting for this one guy to go drive. And it's like, not like there are streets, they're like, go to Cahuenga. I'm like, oh, actually I can picture this. And it's like, no. These are dirt roads. He's like in the hills and he's driving this like Model T kind of car. And there's only like, 20 cameras in town, and he has to wait for it to be returned. And honestly, I had a story like that happen to me. And I was on a movie and they needed a lens. And they're like, go, like, we're waiting on you. And so I drove, hurried, got this lens, got in a car accident. Someone rear-ended me. And it was this guy, and I felt so bad for him because he was so scared. Thankfully, everything was okay, but he was so scared. I remember he was hugging me. He just felt so bad. He was worried I was hurt. He was worried about all this stuff. And I was like, I got to get this lens. And that's psychotic, by the way. I was thinking about the lens. And so I ran, delivered the lens, movie went on. So maybe, I had like a personal kind of connection to that moment, but it's just filled with these vignettes that are really interesting, but it also is filled with these other indulgences that go on too long. And I think if this movie was like 2 hours, 30 minutes versus 3 hours, 10, I think it'd be a fantastic movie. But there's a much talked about end 20 minutes with Tobey Maguire that just totally should have been chucked. Like totally, it brings the movie to a grinding halt. And then it tries to get back, and it's very gonzo and kind of gross even. And like, then the movie tries to get back on track and remind you of the things that came before and have this sentimental ending. And I'm like, ugh. I like this on paper, but like, man, you really sort of derailed me there for a minute. And I'm like having to recalibrate to this. And so I would actually say, and I would never say this for other things, I'm actually very much against this, but I think this is like kind of a good movie to watch with your phone. Like when this is on HBO or you want to like rent it or something, when it has vignettes that are really interesting, enjoy. But like when it gets to these sort of like, the Tobey Maguire stuff, whatever, like you can kind of put down your phone, you kind of get the gist of it, or pick up your phone and then wait for the movie to pick itself back up. So yeah, but and by word of warning, I mean it is pretty debaucherous. I mean this is a wild movie that like pulls no punches and literally has elephants literally like crapping on the lens of the movie you're watching, and like nudity, blah 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 blah. But like, there's enough entertaining stuff here, and even thinking about it now, I mean, sometimes movies that I like, I just forget about them, but like this, I remember it almost beat for beat because it was the stuff that was memorable enough and in a great way. So, man, I mean, so that review
watch with your
encapsulates
phone.
Babylon. Like, yeah, just blah 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 blah. Even for the bingo card, I'll call out. It was bombastic.
I'm wondering what Chazelle would think of your recommendation to just watch with your phone on.
I know, and I seriously feel like such a horrible person saying that, but like, I feel like you could. I mean, the party at the beginning, which is basically the bulk of the trailer, I was like, all right, like anytime Margot Robbie and the other guy are like doing stuff, I mean, that is important and it is captivating. But it's just like, look at this girl. This girl's naked in the room. Like you're like, yeah, I got it. Like it just, it kind of indulges a little too much, and it's like, let's go. But
it's made a whole 15 million at the U.S. box office. So.
Yeah, which is it's like you almost, gosh, I feel like such a traitor right now, but like you almost like kind of wish for a fan edit or something, like because it could be like kind of a perfect, fun gonzo series of vignettes about Hollywood,
I mean, I think I would imagine anyway that box office is less a reflection of that film in particular than just the fact that there really isn't as big a market for like star vehicles like that anymore.
I think it's a lot of things. I think it's that. I think the movie tries
and the reviews. Well, the reviews just slammed it. Yeah. That's a major factor also.
It's a hard movie to recommend also because ultimately, I think for our audience, I do recommend it. Like I do think there are worthy vignettes in here that people will really enjoy and remember. But like as a whole, it's lacking, and that makes it difficult. And also, I remember it came out on Christmas Day, and I'm like, what family in their right mind is going to go watch this together? It was kind of like weird timing. But yeah, I don't know. And Brad Pitt, I didn't even mention him, but he plays a silent movie star that has this kind of interesting arc that I really found kind of compelling, and you felt for him, and like thinking about his legacy. And there's an interesting Jean Smart's in it, and she has a monologue with him about legacy and what we leave behind, and like it's very, I don't know, there's so many good things to recommend in it. It's just hard to recommend as a whole. And so yeah, I think that all of that contributes to the reviews and, like you said, to the sort of lackluster response to it.
Well, I think imagine if Siskel and Ebert had that as an option. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
That's why I'm thankful that sometimes I'm not a
thumbs
film
up
critic.
With the
phone. Thumbs up. Well, yeah, because I feel like I only can just sort of ramble like I am right now, like I would at dinner after the movie, and say, these are my feelings. I can't sum them up with a thumb, like it's too tricky, but that's why I love
that. It's kind of interesting because I mentioned in our previous episode, I've been going through a lot of old episodes. I just have them playing while I'm doing stuff, and that's oftentimes the discussion, right? Where they'll be like, oh, I liked this, I like this, but I didn't like this, and it's a thumbs down for me. And so, like Ebert will be like, but I'd say rent it maybe, and he'd be like, but that's not the criterion. It's either thumbs up or thumbs down. You have to pick one,
right?
Which is challenging,
I know, because it also my this is another thing. My feelings on it have changed. I mean, when I walked out, I felt like, what was that? And thinking about it now, I would stop on it on TV. Like it has made an impression on me, and I smile when I think of certain things from it, so I kind of appreciate this
you
forum
just make sure
where
your
I can
phone
do that.
was nearby. That's all.
I know. I'm really going to live to regret saying that, but like, yeah. Which is funny though, because Tar, as lengthy as it was and as luxurious as it was in certain moments, and, not really just sticking with someone playing a piano for a while or walking around and talking and giving a speech, I would say, how dare you pick up your phone? Because like, that's the point of it, like it's to get completely lost in it and be taken on this ride, lost in this other world that feels very real. And on that note, lastly, I'll say this, and I won't spend as much time on this, but I had heard the show on Hulu, Fleischman is in Trouble, was really good. I'd heard this on some podcasts, seen some reviews, and it wasn't really even on my radar, and it didn't even feel like something I would be interested in. Like, it felt like something that I knew would be good, but I didn't know that I'd want that feeling. And what it's basically about is Jesse Eisenberg and Claire Danes, their characters are getting a divorce. And what is it like in your early 40s, mid 40s, to be single and to like, have had this sort of experience and then have to go back out into the world, and like, who are you now? And you get these other lenses of a character who, his friend Lizzie Kaplan, who is still married, and what's that experience like when she sees her friend getting to go out when she can't. And you have their other friend, Adam Brody from the OC, who's so good, by the way. I was like, wow, I know I've probably missed him in a few things, but this guy he's a natural.
Well, we talked about him a few months ago.
That's right.
Kid Detective.
Yeah, I got to check that out. Yeah, I really liked him in this, but he's like the wild guy who never did settle down, and and so you see all these different perspectives of what their lives are like.
That's what I used to call you, Brian, up until like 2 years ago. He's the wild guy.
The wild guy. Down. He wants to see a movie at 10:30 at night. Why not? Yeah. But it's, it's melancholy. But and it has moments of levity too. But like, man, this is good. Zaki, this show is so good. This is one of those like miracles where you are like, oh, this gave me that feeling of when I just read an amazing book. And I think it's a tempo, that might, and a mood that might not be for everyone, because it's another one of those things where it really immerses you. So you're going to spend time with people looking at their phones a little bit, but it's about how they're feeling while they're looking at their phones. And when you get locked into those feelings, the bigger moments that happen to them hit harder, right? And it's just this world and these characters are so richly realized that I just became immersed in this world and invested in these people. Like, these people became so real to me that I ached for them. And like, I wanted to hug them. And like, there's one episode I literally sobbed, like not cried, I sobbed. And wow. When it ended, I was like, I'm going to miss these people. Like I want to check in on them, like I want to make, and it's absolutely amazing.
I almost everybody's feel like you good. Shouldn't say anything else.
No, I don't want to, honestly. Yeah, you're right. And I will say Claire Danes is freaking phenomenal. And Lizzie Kaplan. I mean, they're all great, but those two, and she narrates it, and she's also a character in it. The narration is fantastic. Her character is fantastic. Like, if that sounds interesting to you, and it may not, like a look at, life in your 40s, that may not appeal to you, and I would get that. But like, this is an excellent, very, very touching, richly realized study of people, and I highly recommend it.
Well, there we go. I think you covered quite the spectrum of things.
Yeah, elephants pooping on screen, people finding their footing again in their 40s.
Talking CGI bears.
Yes. Yeah.
And U.S. Marshals.
And U.S.
From me. Well, hey, let's take a short break. We'll come back. We got some listener letters.
All right.
And we are back, and hey, we got some listener letters.
All right.
So this is one that we got from Adam O, who says, Zaki talking about the Christmas Carol episode of The Real Ghostbusters inspired me to look to see if it was streaming anywhere. My 11-year-old was familiar with the show due to me finding a couple of episodes on DVD at a garage sale. I was pleasantly surprised to find the series on Amazon Prime, and after a few episodes this evening, I think this is going to get put in our rotation of G.I. Joe, Batman the Animated Series, X-Men, etc. See, that's doing parenting right.
Yeah.
He says, also, fun little tidbit, Lorenzo Music was the voice of Peter Venkman, and also Garfield in the old cartoons, and later Bill Murray voiced Garfield in the live-action movies.
Right.
Everything comes full circle. I think I've told the story before that Lorenzo Music was the original voice of Peter Venkman, and he was later replaced by Dave Coulier because supposedly Bill Murray at some point saw the cartoon and he said, "How come Harold's guy sounds like him?" That was Maurice LaMarche doing his voice, but my guy sounds like Garfield.
That's so weird. Like you say, full circle. That's
full circle.
Yeah. That's funny. Sorry, good.
Well, I had mentioned that episode to you only because you had just recently revisited Christmas Carol.
Yes, and by the way, I have sort of like an open, like a standing notes page that I use for this show, and I scroll down and I have Real Ghostbusters and a link that I found to the episode, like because I intend to watch that. I need to do that.
Well, I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Here is another note we got from Alex Naom, and he says, "Being the creep that I am, and with too much time on my hands, I've been rifling through your back catalog and have listened to a couple of your past commentaries." Now, again, this is what happens, Brian, when we don't drop new episodes. People delve into the archives.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And what's funny is this past Thursday was the 20th anniversary of the Jimmy Kimmel Show.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which, like, how the hell has that show been on for 20 years?
Right? I thought the same thing. I couldn't believe it.
Like, I remember watching that episode. I remember watching his first episode and being like, good Lord.
Now that I think about it, I remember being in college because I just moved to, or I was finishing college because I transferred, living in Los Angeles, and it was the Foo Fighters were going to perform for Jimmy Kimmel in a parking lot near Hollywood Boulevard. And I was like, wow, this place is amazing. So I like this just happens here, every week. But I forgot. Yeah, that was Jimmy Kimmel. So yeah, I guess yeah, it's been on a while.
And then cut to you like 2 months later, and you're at Rasputin Records, and there's Dave Grohl like right.
Oh my gosh, with you, at Amoeba, yeah. Oh man,
at Amoeba, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that one time I think I froze in front of a celebrity. It's funny because I met him once, went well. Met him second time, should have left well enough alone. I just got tongue-tied. It was very embarrassing. He hugged me, though. That was nice.
Hey, you got your Grohl hug. Come on.
Yeah, I did.
But Kimmel talks about like watching that first episode. Now he's like, I've never been able to get through it, and I'm like, I can relate, brother.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's funny. I watched an old Conan O'Brien clip recently, and I was like, wow, he's really awkward. It's just so funny. Right. I mean, I didn't care. Like I loved him, and we were experiencing him in real time. But yeah, now seeing how comfortable and what a pro he is, it is funny looking back and seeing these people and going, oh, yeah, it can be a little rough. So yeah, I relate to that. Who knows?
I think I've said before that Hamza has been like he's been going through the old like early episodes.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know he was going through the old ones.
Yeah, I guess like because he listens to new ones when they come out, and then like it just cycled back to the beginning.
Yeah, yeah.
And so he's like, yeah, I heard you railing about in Indiana Jones 4 or whatever. And I'm like,
holy cow.
I'm like, well, when was that? Because there's a long tail on that.
Yeah.
But it's very funny because certainly in our first episode, I remember how dismayed I was by The Dark Knight Rises.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, I felt, yeah.
And I've fully come around to being like, I like this movie, so.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what I was saying 10 years ago? What kind of weird, railing against.
Right? Like, I mean,
whatever I was doing,
our things change. Yeah, it's weird to have a permanent record of something when it's like, oh, I don't agree with that at all anymore.
That's exactly right. It's a moment in time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we get to sort of plot the trajectory by virtue of our discussions, but certainly I wouldn't want to be held to, oh, well, this is what you said, in 2012, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we even just maturity, frankly, I mean, just sort of time marches on and you look at things differently and you have a different lens, and it's like in each moment, you're growing, but it's funny. Yeah. These earlier moments get sort of locked, and it's sort
That's
of,
right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Alex goes on. Sorry, I went off.
Yeah.
Tangent.
Me too. Sorry.
He says, I too gush over The Dark Knight, so I thoroughly enjoy the 2.5 hour love-in that you had. That's nice. That film is just about as close to perfect as you can get, only exceeded for me by the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Anyway, my main reason for emailing you is that I also listened to your Revenge of the Sith commentary, recorded literally hours before the release of The Rise of Skywalker. Quick side note, gosh, I have never appreciated this film as much as I did with this viewing. It was actually the first time I watched the film along with your commentary, and boy, it made a difference.
Huh.
Of particular note is Zaki pointing out how directly involved Palpatine is with everything that happens in the plot. It's been generally accepted all along that Palpatine was the puppet master, but the specificity with which Zaki explained it really enhanced my viewing experience. I also appreciated you two pointing out how good the film looks. It's become fashionable over the years to crap on how these films are visually, but it has aged very well. 2022 for me was overall enriched for having discovered your podcast. I've been jumping between so many episodes recently that my memory of the timeline may be jumbled up. But was it on the most recent episode that another listener sent in bingo card suggestions with the whole list of tropes from the show? Just saying, if you were ever to launch a merch shop, a t-shirt with that bingo card printed on it would be a great addition and would instantly hang in my closet.
Oh, wow.
Happy New Year and thanks to y'all.
I thought, well, I mentioned the bingo card earlier, and I also was setting something up. I don't even remember what, and I was using a lot of words, and I was like, oh, there's another bingo.
Yeah, it's bombastic.
Bombastic, definitely, yeah. But also like long wind-ups to what I'm actually about to say, I think. That's why I say I'm not a public speaker. I'm a writer because I have a delete key.
Well, if you could say a few words, you would be a better public speaker.
As I pound my fist laughing on the table.
You know, we talk about The Simpsons all the time. You and I were texting just the other day about how The Simpsons has now been renewed for an additional 2 seasons, which would take it up to, I think, 36.
Yeah.
And that would be 800 episodes.
Wow. 800 stories. Isn't that amazing? Amazing.
And it's so like, now you talk about the trajectory of our own discourse on this show. I think we've gone on a whole journey when it comes to The Simpsons.
Yeah. Speaking of, an opinion that could be one thing one year and another.
Right. Like, I mean, I think certainly for a while there, and I'm not going to speak for you, but certainly I felt like this sense of like, God, it's just not what it used to be. And that makes me so mad, that kind of thing, you know? And one thing that I've definitely come to the point over is I'm like, look, 36 seasons, you know, TV networks are not a charity. So people are watching, you know, so that means people are getting something out of it. Right. And it might not be the same thing that I got out of it. But at this point, what I consider the golden era is a fraction of the entire lifespan of this show. Think about this. You could have been born when this show came out, when it started. You could have been born that year. And let's say it ends in year 36. You are now the same age as Homer.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Whole lifetime.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of like, to me, it's not a show that I go out of my way to watch anymore, but I'll occasionally dip in and I'll see what they're doing, you know? And I'll be honest, it makes me happy knowing it's still there, because if nothing else, it's this little thing connecting all those years ago to now. It's like this thread.
100% agree. I mean, I don't really watch it much anymore. I still stop on reruns, you know, and it, as everyone is aware, it cycles through my brain every moment I'm awake, basically. But it's a family member. I mean, you know what I mean? Like I want nothing but the best for it. I'm always rooting for it, and I would be really sad once it goes off the air. So I love that it's still there.
They had an episode, just I think it's either this past week or the week before, where it's the concept is that the Simpsons are lifestyle influencers on social media. Right. So the entire episode is told through the perspective of clicking on different YouTube videos.
Okay.
So it's like, here's Bart's channel. Here's Lisa's thing. Here's, Comic Book Guy's reaction channel to Simpsons videos and things like that.
Yeah.
Right.
It's clever.
So it's like a POV of somebody just clicking through YouTube links.
Yeah.
Right. And I was watching and I found a part of it amusing, but I was like, this is behind the laughter.
Yes. Right.
You know what I mean? And so I'm like, well, you can be like, oh, well, they did that already. But I'm like, isn't it kind of cool that like this many decades later, we've got a different angle to do that as?
It's so true, because I was just thinking back to your lemonade stand thing, and we directly referenced Bart having the lemonade stand, and it took me a long time to realize that Bart's antics and whatnot are kind of based on a 1960s sensibility. I mean, married with the 90s, you know, but so
I mean, the slingshot, like literally,
Yes.
like having a slingshot in his pocket, right?
Exactly, and stink bombs and those sorts of things. And so what does that even look like now? Like I don't know what Bart. When I think of Bart, I still think of that like gee whiz Hellraiser kind of character. But like, yeah, what's he like now? Right? I mean, does he reflect more closely
He
like
has an
kids
iPhone.
now? Yeah, I mean, he's got a phone, exactly. So I mean, it's it's kind of interesting. Yeah, but
I mean, it's cool. Again, that's the thing. It's like we can be like It's funny because Al Jean tweeted, like, oh, episode 800, here we come. Al Jean is one of the producers of the show.
Yeah,
and somebody responded to him, the stop, he's already dead gif.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, I'm like, that's like a dick thing,
yeah.
right? Like. Right, yeah. But his response is funny. He's like, "We should be making royalties every time that GIF is used."
See, well, yeah. I mean, you gotta have a sense of humor about it, but yeah.
But that's I'm like, that's where I'm at when it comes to Simpsons now. It's like, I know I will be sad when it ends. I know that, and so that means that for now, I'm happy that it's still going.
Same, yeah.
This is my Zen place, Brian.
I mean, this all kind of ties together with, like we were saying earlier, and just perspectives, and you just look at things differently. I remember, I'm going to bungle this, but the movie Funny People, if anyone remembers that, the Judd Apatow, Adam Sandler movie, Adam Sandler does this stand-up thing, which, by the way, I was an extra in that scene. So I think that's why I remember it so much. But he did this stand-up thing where he was talking about the stages of his life. He's like, when I'm a teen, I hate, I'm angry at my parents. When I'm in my 20s, I'm angry at, this. When I'm in my 30s, I'm angry at politics in the world. And when I'm in my 40s, I just kind of want a sandwich, and I was like, yeah, like, are you angry? Like, if Indy 5 isn't good, am I going to be angry? I'll be maybe a little disappointed, but like, what are we doing for dinner? Like, I don't know.
I mean, that's it. It's funny because you talk about Funny People. Anybody remember that movie? That brings to my mind, again, all these Siskel and Eberts that I'm watching, right? And the one thing you realize when you just mainline episodes of this show, you're like, my God, there are a lot of movies that exist that I have no memory of.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like when you really think about it, like in any given week, they would review, like 4 or 5, right? And you maybe remember 2 of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of those probably you're like, oh yeah, that movie,
Yeah. Yeah.
But
like Blown Away or something with Jeff Bridges. And you're like, oh,
perfect
yeah,
example.
That exists. Yeah.
Jeff Bridges and
Tommy Lee
Jones. I mean, it's like the movie North, right?
Yes.
You know the movie North, right?
Yeah, infamous, yes.
But why do you know the movie North?
Because Roger Ebert hated it so much.
That's exactly right. That's the only reason that movie has any currency at all.
And it's not just that it was bad and people didn't see it and it was forgotten. It was that Ebert had something to say.
So Roger Ebert. So for those of you who don't know this movie, it's from the 90s. It's Elijah Wood's little kid. It's about this kid who dislikes his parents so much that he divorces them and goes around the world trying to find new parents. And Roger Ebert famously in his review said, I hated this movie. I hated this movie.
Yeah.
And that's the reason that movie is remembered today.
Right. That's its legacy.
It's kind of amazing. That's its legacy. Yeah. That's the little skin in the game that it has. Mm-hmm. And so that's my point is that's a lot of this stuff, right? Like big picture, it's not going to matter that much.
Yeah.
Certainly for us, it makes for a good conversation, but let's be honest, we're all going to be overtaken by fungus eventually. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, let's take another short break. We'll come back and talk about some fungus. And we are back, and you know who else is back, Brian?
Who's that?
Why, it's none other than TV star Pedro Pascal.
Love that guy.
He really is having quite a moment, isn't he, lately?
I work with people who are absolutely obsessed with him.
He's
Like
quite the
hardcore
thirst
crushes.
trap, as the youngsters say these days.
Yeah, let's even go for. Could we call him a zaddy?
Perhaps. I don't know what that means, but let's go with it.
Yeah. So yeah, like I love him. I think he's great. I loved him on Game of Thrones. Love him in Mandalorian. I think for as little as we see his face, he makes a huge impression. His voice acting, and I was thrilled because I am a big fan of this video game, The Last of Us. When I found out he was going to be playing Joel, I was like, oh yeah. So
The Last of Us has premiered on HBO. It is the new series based on, of course, the video game, which I was first exposed to through you, absolutely singing its praises. And yeah, it's doing quite well. As we record this, it has just been renewed for a second season, which means I would imagine that a lot of people who have fallen in love with Joel are in for some rough sledding at some point.
Right. Well, in this, I mean, the numbers were pretty remarkable, right? Like, I don't know if I have this right, but I think I think it was like 22 million viewers for the first episode, which is insane in this day and age. But then the second episode went up, right? And they were saying that's the first time, or at least it hasn't happened in decades for HBO for that to happen. So yeah, pretty remarkable.
So, well, now this is interesting for me because I'm only tangentially familiar with the game. So, this is going to be the version of MovieFilm that we normally get, where Brian watches a thing based on a comic book. And
yes.
He's like, so Zaki, what's that thing? And I'm like, well, Brian, have a seat and I'll explain it to you. This is going to be the inverse of that.
Yes, which is awesome. I'm very excited because I want your perspective on this because I know where this is going. I remember moments from it, and I even have thoughts on sort of the storytelling a little bit, but that's filtered through certain, very specific things. So I'm very, very curious. Actually, if you don't mind, let's get into it. I mean, what did you think? We've seen episodes at this point 1 and 2, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
And should we just go ahead and say we should probably just lead with spoilers? I mean, we're just going to get into it here.
So let's drop the spoiler wall. We'll talk spoilers on the other side of it.
Spoilers.
Yeah, I should say, by the way, like when it comes to Pedro Pascal, I mean, we've been doing this long enough. I remember when, for me, he was heel turn guy. Because whenever he was in a movie, he would be the guy who would turn out to be the traitor. Like that was the thing. That was the trend that I saw.
Oh, that's so funny.
Because like Kingsman 2 and Equalizer 2, and
maybe that's why. Because I haven't seen Equalizer 2. Okay, that's so funny. Yeah.
I even when he was cast in Wonder Woman, they didn't say he was playing. I was like, well, he's probably going to be the villain because he's the heel turn guy.
You know what's funny, by the way, which we did not, us and a lot of people didn't really feel a lot for Wonder Woman 2, but I loved him in it. I wanted a better movie for him. I wish they had built him a better boat, Rose.
That's right. As Brian is standing with the water up to his ankle, is like changing the hour hand or whatever on the clock,
Yeah, exactly.
No, so okay, so there has been a struggle turning video games into movies. That struggle stretches all the way back to 30 years ago when they decided to make Mario Brothers into a world of fungus. So I suppose it's appropriate that 30 years later, we're back with the world of fungus.
Full circle. That's the theme of this episode.
That's right. But it is, I think last year we had Uncharted.
Yeah.
Which, just based on your reaction, I feel like I'm stirring some unpleasant memories.
It's not even like that it's terrible. It's just so disappointing,
It's what I tell my kids all the time.
Exactly.
You're just disappointing. No.
Yeah.
And now they're listening. I'm just kidding, guys. Sorry, this is a total tangent, but my 14-year-old, it's been kind of fun because we've been going through and watching. We've been watching James Bond movies.
Oh,
we're kind of bonding over those now, and we watched the two Dalton ones, and we've gotten into the Brosnan ones, and it's become our thing now that whenever there's an especially dramatic villain death, we both go, "That's how you do it." Like that's our thing now.
That's so cute.
Like this is how we bond.
That's how you do it.
He's 14 tomorrow. Can you believe that?
Wow. No.
I'm watching Yellowstone with my wife, and that's another.
I was just about to start that. That's so funny.
First, I told you last time. You watch 1883, watch 1923. You're gonna like them.
Yeah,
and you get into Yellowstone. But I've said this before. But when he was, this is like 3 years ago. So he was like 11. We were watching Waterworld, and he did not know who was in it. But it starts with the pea going into the thing, and and then it pans up and he drinks it, and it's Kevin Costner, right? And I still remember Mick was like, "Why Kevin Costner? Why?" And I still think about that. I'm like, that is really funny.
That's funny.
He just said it like so quickly. He's got a good sense of humor on it.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was I saying? Yes. So we go from Uncharted.
Yeah.
Which I have no memory of at all.
And that's the problem, right? Because why the game is so good is it has a personality. Like you can do Indiana Jones riffs till you're blue in the face. But if you can come up with the personality,
that's exactly it. Right?
That's why that's good, and it becomes its own thing. Right? And that movie did not do that. Sorry, I keep cutting you off. But yeah.
No. But that's you're saying this exact thing, right? Uncharted, I have not played the game, so I can't speak to it, but I'm sure it's a fun game, right? But Uncharted, the game, is an Indiana Jones pastiche.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right? So you make Uncharted the game into Uncharted the movie. It's a pastiche of a pastiche at that point. I went to see that with one of my kids, and honestly, he doesn't remember it.
Yeah.
Like the movie, you know what I mean? And that's kind of one of those things where you're like, well, when you're a kid, like it'll stay with you or whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And even kids are like, well, I'd rather just watch Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is my long wind up of saying the concern I had about The Last of Us is the video game is an immersive video game experience, and that's unique and whatever, but it is itself a regurgitation of zombie movie tropes. Right? So my concern was if you turn that into a movie or a show, then it becomes Uncharted. It's a pastiche of a pastiche. Where it's like, well, why don't I just watch The Walking Dead? Right. Or whatever. Or any George Romero movie. And I think, now as I'm not having played the game, but I'm familiar with the world of it, I think what The Last of Us did very well was situate us so directly with the character. And at least for me, that's what made all the difference. Right? Like, because you look at the most obvious point of comparison is The Walking Dead, which that is a show I stopped watching about halfway through. And not because I thought it was bad, but I stopped watching because it just became too much for me. Right? So it never stopped being compelling, but I was like, it made me feel bad, and I didn't want to carry that with me.
Yeah, sure.
Does that make sense?
100%, yeah.
And I think with this, I carried that reservation with me where I'm like, do I want to live in this world? And obviously I don't, but I think the fact that it is going to be less of it, you know what I mean? It's not meant to run like 12 seasons or whatever.
Yeah.
That makes it easier for me to be like, okay, this is a journey that I want to go on.
Yeah.
Right. And so the first, whatever it is, like 15 minutes is just the place setting. And I think what it does so well is it drops you, like, you're like, well, I know what's happening here because I know the setup of the show and I've seen enough zombie stuff. So you get to really, you get to experience it in a firsthand perspective that makes it interesting. Like it, let me explain what I'm saying. We start out following the daughter.
Yes.
What's her name?
Oh shoot, I forgot. I remember.
Is it Sarah?
The new. Yes.
Sarah, right? So we're following her, and to some extent you're like, oh well, she's our main character.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
right? And the fact that the perspective just abruptly shifts, that's what I found like so compelling.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're like, she's supposed to be our focus, and now she's dead.
Right.
And I'm like, that's like a video game, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it is literally the opening of the video game, that first portion of the episode.
So how close is it? That was my question for you.
Pretty darn. Like I mean, they plus it a little bit, or not plus it, they add to it a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I mean the watch, fixing the watch and, watching the movie together, and then the what's going on outside and getting in the truck. I mean, the truck stuff and her and confronting that soldier is, I mean, to my memory, almost like shot for shot.
Now, I remember you telling me when you played the game that you got emotional at times.
Yes.
Did what you've seen thus far on the show, does that evoke what you felt when you played the game?
See, this is actually a hard thing to answer, because yes, but maybe not as much as if I was seeing it for the first time, because I think I was sort of like, wow, it's just like what I remember. So I was thinking of it like slightly at a distance, which I wish I didn't have, because when I played the game, I was devastated. And by the way, I just want to say, before we get too far past it, what you just said, setting up how you were feeling about approaching this show, do I really want to live in this world? It could be a pastiche of a pastiche. I had the exact same feelings. And I'm kind of over the post-apocalyptic thing. We maybe 10 years ago or so, there was just a ton of it. And I'm like, okay, like I kind of got it. And so when I played this game, I think I played it because I heard it was good or something. And what was so compelling about it was I didn't know video games could do what it did. It like, I mean, there's a lot of shooting and, stealth mode, sort of trying to get past zombies and stuff. But when I think of that game, I think of Joel and Ellie. Like that's the game to me. And I remember the tragic opening and how bad I felt for Joel. And I remember the budding relationship, I don't think it's a spoiler to say, between Joel and Ellie. I mean, he's hardened now, and he is now having this relationship that's sort of very father-daughter like, and that's going to take a minute for him to get used to. And then, I mean, I don't think it's a spoiler to say, like, it's going to become something for them, for the both of them. And that's what I remember about the game. And so when I was seeing the ads, I know I was seeing people, they were so excited about it. And I was like, yes, but just like you, I was like, do I want to spend hours in a dreary world? Because when you're playing the game, it's you. Like, you're directing the people. You're driving the truck to get away from, from the melee. So like, you are involved and you become really emotionally invested in this stuff because of your direct participation in it. And I wondered if observing it, I would feel the same way. And I also wondered if the show would make me as compassionate for these characters again, and I would say episode 1, I did find a little bit like, oh, wow, this is kind of a fascinating exercise, and well done to my mind. And that's why I was so curious what you felt, if you felt it, because again, sadly, I sort of feel like I was more like observing it. And even when it ended, I will admit, I was a little like, okay, this feels like
episode 1 you're talking about.
Episode 1. I felt like this is good prestige TV trademark. Like, it sort of was shot like prestige TV. It was color time like prestige TV. I'm like, I want it to feel like its own thing. I don't want it to just look like another HBO show and whatever. And so I left optimistic, like hopeful, but I wasn't sure how I felt when episode 1 ended. And even though they did sort of accomplish a little goal, or like they were setting out to do something, I also didn't feel completely satisfied with it. It almost felt like it just ended. And then I was like I wanted to binge it and just keep going, because I felt like I was in the middle of something versus like, and so I'm kind of glad we're talking about it with episode 2 in mind as well, because I really liked episode 2 a lot. Episode 2 reminded me of the game a lot. It did a good job of I think, showing Joel wrestling with being reminded of what it was like to deal with a girl this age. You know, I think it was in episode 1 actually, but when Ellie says something about like your watch is broken, and we know what that watch means. Like that's what the game is peppered with. That's why you care so much about the game. It actually has really good emotional storytelling. And so that gave me hope in the first episode. But in episode 2, like when she's going through the hotel, she's never seen a hotel before. She's like, whoa, you know, like, and then she's pushing the cart and she's acting like a kid. And then that skeleton falls over. Like there's a little bit of, oh, come on, like, you know, keep it together because he's so hard. But also like, oh, she's a kid. Like this is cool for her. Like that's the stuff I remember about the game. And then when she's on the rooftop at the end, I actually can't remember what she says, but there's something that makes him wince because he's triggered thinking about his daughter. And I was like, oh, good. Yes, they're going to do it. Like they're going to do it. Like it's starting to make me feel what I felt by the end of that game. And so I'm really enjoying it personally. Sorry, I kind of cut ahead there, but
no.
I'm curious then, to actually hear you with the 2 episodes now in light of what you said. How is it playing for you? I mean, are you connecting with them? Are you interested in where it's going? You know, what their dynamic is that playing for you?
So to that point, right? I kind of circling back to what I was saying about Pedro Pascal. I think he sort of gets instant buy-in, and I think part of that is because he's a familiar face. But I think the Mandalorian has shown this kind of this tender side of him, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow, I can't believe I didn't even think of that. But like the stoic lone warrior thing, but then he's given this, you know, entity he has to take care of and makes him softer. And yeah, you're right. Wow, I can't believe I didn't think about that.
It's like 2 versions of a very similar thing. In that
yeah,
you know, but so and we texted about this because at the point I texted you, I think it was just after Sarah dies, and I'm like, God, Pedro Pascal's so good in this. You know, the emotions on his face when his daughter dies. I mean, it's horrifying, you know?
Yeah.
And so to some extent, it is a journey, like you said, like, oh, well, there's no spoilers here. Yeah, okay, well, he's gonna, you know, come to care for Ellie. So that's you don't even have to play the game to be like, well, obviously that's where we're headed, right?
Yeah.
So then it's kind of like, are these characters who I want to go on this journey with?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's helpful. I also think that the nature of the zombie, you know, people are like, oh, these aren't zombies. I'm like, no, they're zombies.
right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I remember about 9 years ago, I interviewed Alex Garland. And it was what's it about? Oh, it was about Ex Machina.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, he wrote 28 Days Later.
Oh wow, I think I'd forgotten that.
Yeah, and so we were just sort of talking about that, and he's like, you know, like the zombies in 28 Days Later, and I'm like, well, are those really zombies? He's like, they're zombies. I'm like, all right, you know, yeah. I'm like, I'm using the Garland rule.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, you can say what they're functionally in terms of what the purpose they serve in the story, they're zombies. But the nature of this problem and how it started, I'm really enjoying seeing them backfill how he got here. Like,
and that's all new. I mean, and I'm loving that too. Yeah,
it's funny because first of all, the thing in episode 1 where you have John Hannah on like this old timey TV show.
Yeah.
I'm like, isn't it amazing how you can take a great actor like John Hannah and just point a camera at him?
Yeah.
Talking about friggin' mushrooms or whatever shit. And you're like, keep talking. I'm so
yes.
Right?
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So that's part 1. And then in episode 2, the prologue is an absolutely terrifying horror short film.
Yep.
Right there, where you have this mycologist in Jakarta who finds out what's going on, and she's just like, bomb everybody,
bomb it. Yeah,
I need to go say goodbye to my family. Like, I don't know about you, but like I felt it, like just something traveled down my back, you know, like
is
so unnerving. But the other thing At watching episode 2, she's talking because it's like, oh, where did they? Oh, it was in a grain refinery, or and she's like, oh, it's a perfect place for this to grow or whatever. This is what the scientist was saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you realize in episode 1, they were going to make pancakes for Joel. Oh, they didn't. Hey, Joel, have some biscuits. Oh, I'm on Atkins. Oh, I was going to get a cake. I forgot. They avoid flour.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's brilliant.
Yeah. I wonder if it helps too, having one of the co-creators of the series literally writing and directing on this show. Like, he understands the things that made it work.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or at least maybe if he hasn't even become that introspective, like, he made it and it worked. So he's now making it again, and he's putting the things in that are the details and the things that he thinks matter,
Right.
Which is some of that's changed a bit in the game. It's spores, is how it transmits, and you have to wear like a mask from time to time.
Right.
But I think this, yeah.
So obviously, because they don't want to limit the characters, so they.
Yeah. And they have this sort of like weed underground kind of sensory thing. I don't recall that being a thing. I haven't played it in 10 years, but yeah.
But they do have those weird like mushroom headed zombies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's freaking scary, dude.
It's horrifying. It's horrifying. And playing the game, a lot of the game is you don't want to engage them. Like, the point is to sneak past them. And so you're going through these dark rooms and you hear them, like the clicking noise. And then if you accidentally knock something over or you engage one, I mean, when you're playing it, I was like, like leaning back in my seat and running away from these things. I mean, I highly recommend it, by the way. I think you and your older kids at least would enjoy it. But
yeah. Well, Hamza's trying to buy it, but apparently it's like $60-$70. He's trying to get it for his computer. He's too cool to do the PlayStation now. This kid.
I was actually about to say, like, PC, eh?
Yeah. He's like, because he wanted to get Red Dead Redemption for his computer, and I'm like, I'll get it for the PlayStation. He's like, no, I don't do the PlayStation. What's wrong with these kids these days? Can you believe that?
Oh, so it's not even like, oh, maybe this or that. It's like, I am done with that.
No, yeah. That kid needs a beating, if you ask me. I don't know. All this PlayStation disrespect in my house.
I won't stand for it.
I won't tolerate it. No, you've played the second game.
I have not, actually.
You have not. But I mean, you know what happens in it, right?
I do, yes. And I think I remember when it came out, people were kind of split on it, and I just was told it was like unrelentingly bleak. Sure. And in that moment of time, I just wasn't in the mood. And I've since had people, my buddy Michael Olson, actually, he's just like, dude, you have to play this. And I've not forgotten that. Like, sometime I will get to it, but I have not played it now.
Well, I'm curious if the plan for the show is to studiously follow that roadmap.
Yeah, I mean, I know sort of the broader strokes of it, but I don't know it in depth necessarily.
As a point of comparison, like, right, with Walking Dead, for example, right, it's based on a comic book run, and Robert Kirkman was involved with both, right? He created the comic book, he was producer on the show. He made an active point of saying, the comics are the comics.
Yeah.
Let's do something different here. So that was the whole, he's like, look, Norman Reedus the character he plays does not exist in the comics. He is a focal point in the show, so that's going to change the trajectory. So let's just do that.
Right.
And so what you have is something very interesting where the first maybe 1.5, 2 episodes are fairly straightforward adaptations of the comic. And then, with each little digression, it moves further and further afield.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I don't know what fans of the comics think, but I'm, as a somewhat detached observer, I'm like, well, that's cool. It lets the comics be its own thing. And,
Yeah.
And so that's my question is, I'm like, is the show going to be like, well, we know what the reaction may be if we go in that direction. Is that something we want to do?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, they've added a little bit of stuff for texture, and they've changed motivations a little bit. Like the reason for transporting Ellie, they want like a car battery, and I think in the game it was like just for weapons. Like, feels a little more personal. Involves Joel's brother.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's just like little things at this point.
That's by the way, that's Gabriel Luna. I didn't even recognize him from Terminator.
I was just gonna say I didn't know that till you said it. Yeah. But even like the Marlene character, she gets introduced a little earlier here, and like, so it's just little things, but they don't feel that different. They almost feel just like, well, TV works this way, so we're gonna do this to make
with Marlene. I think what's interesting there, I think she's the only it's the same actor in the game and the show.
Yes, yeah. It's so funny because I didn't know that, and seeing her, you just get the same vibes. You're like, oh yeah, okay. You're like, cast well, but you're like, oh, it's her. But yeah, I don't know. I love. Yeah, it's such an interesting thing too. Where you've got this girl. I like the way they portray this, and I wonder if even having COVID recently can sort of get in the back of your mind. But like, and I say COVID existing in the world, not having it personally, but like with Ellie having been bit, and they, you don't have much time if you've been bit. Oh, there was that horrifying thing in the first episode, right? Where that little boy shows up to the town.
Yes. Oh my God.
So well done. Because I was like, oh, he's going to be okay. This poor little boy, wonderful storytelling. He's got duct tape on his shoes. And then he shows up and they test him and they think, he's positive. He's been bit. He's going to get sick. And they're like, man, we're going to fix you right up. You're going to get all the ice cream in the world. And then you see that he's dead. Like, so I'm like choking up thinking about it. But like, it really adds a gravitas to this whole situation. And then when you see that Ellie has been bit, and Joel, how he reacts to her, like, F off, like, get away from me, and it reminds me of like, in the recent years when someone would cough and you're like, hey buddy, what are you doing? Like, get away from me.
6 feet.
Yeah, you can, I had a little extra texture to Joel's, you stand over there kind of feeling about her. And I love when it was even tested and she got bit again, and she's like, no, I'm fine. Like, so there's something special about her, and that's interesting.
And to pick up on the point you're making, I think that's a space where this particular genre thrives really well, is where it forces you to say, well, who am I?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And honestly, I think it's weird, right? Because I'm watching them going through the remains of the hotel and stuff, and you're like, it's so fascinating that the post-apocalyptic films more broadly, or zombie apocalypse films more specifically, the appeal in a weird way is that like there is this not so much wish fulfillment, but like, what would I be doing here?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why the game, I think, partly why it works.
Totally.
And, right. And so to transfer that immediacy, first person immediacy of a video game into a film, I think that's well done. And I don't mean to keep kicking Uncharted, but like that to me is like, I use these two as points of comparison because they're both modern games, and they're both narrative games, and they're both, subject to recent screen adaptations. And it's like, this one I was immersed by with no knowledge of the game, whereas that one I'm just like, I have no connection to the game, so I don't feel any connection to any of this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the problem.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's good casting. I think it's being true to the spirit of the characters, and thinking of episode 2 again, the Tess character, right? The girlfriend or whatever their relationship is, when they were going, it's funny when they go into that museum and she's like, okay, I'm going to see if there's like a way out of here. And she goes like out a window. I was like, man, that is such the game. Cause then you would be her out there on the wooden planks trying to find like a way to open the door. But I love when it stayed in the room and you have Joel and Ellie and they have nothing to talk about, and that's really great character stuff. Like that's the stuff that's going to make me come back next week, not just coming up with some sort of set piece. Like if I have that awkward moment, then when he jumps in front of one of those things to help her later, when she's like, even like she's immune to it, you know what I mean? But like that's the father. That's the father in him, like that's the stuff. That's the stuff, Zaki.
Yeah.
that really worked for me.
Well, there we go. I mean, 2 episodes in, we're definitely on board. And I should mention that, I watched a little bit of it with Amina, and now she's like fully on board. Like I didn't
really?
think, yeah. So she just separately, like, because I was watching it separate from her, and then I happened to see a little bit of it. She's like, "What's this?" So I just put on like the beginning with John Hannah, and then she ended up watching both episodes. So
wow,
like separately, on her own.
Yeah.
So to me, that's a specific bar.
I 100%. I mean,
right?
Again, I that's what I wanted to know. That was the thing I was most interested in. Would you find something to grab onto in this, having no relationship to this story? And so that you did, and that Amina did. I mean, I think that answers it for me.
Yeah. Another, now that I think about it, another recent game to screen adaptation is Halo.
Yes. Which I've not played nor seen.
I mean, it's to me anyway, I think it's coming back for a second season, but I didn't find the show bad, but I'm, as somebody not familiar with the game at all, I'm just like, I don't find this particularly compelling. Right. And I think my point is, I think that's the bar these things need to get over, is like, well, if you're not familiar with the mythology, how's it going to play? And hey, I'm comic book movie guy. I'm the guy who found stuff to like in Black Adam. Right.
Right.
So I see that now. I see the tension there. Where I can be like, dude, Dr. Fate, that's amazing. And you're like, I don't know what you're saying. Stop talking. Right.
Right. That's so funny. Well, I'd never say stop talking. I'd be like, make me care. Make me care.
Go ahead, Zaki. Make me care. You say really passive aggressive. Kind of dickish, to be honest. I was meaning to ask you earlier, completely unrelated to The Last of Us, but
yeah,
you had been working your way through the Bond movies. Have you hit a pause on that, or are you continuing that?
Yeah, we did hit a pause, and it wasn't for any particular reason. I think it's just there's a lot of them. And then, something would come up like, oh, we want to see this in the theater, or, oh, we want to start this series. So it's just one of those things that I think they're going to be throughout the year or two or whatever. Just, oh, tonight, like it would always be like, oh, we're feeling it. Like Bond, let's do Bond, So I think it's not sort of like we're going to the next, but it's going to be dotted throughout.
Which one did you leave it off with?
We just started the first Roger Moore one with the alligators. I forgot.
Oh, okay. Live and Let Die.
Live and Let Die. Yes. Which was
the extremely racist one.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, that one was a little rough. I mean, it had moments for sure, but it was a little like, ooh, that one's very much an artifact.
It's racist and rapey. That one.
Yes, and I don't know. I hope Federica doesn't mind me speaking for her, but like, she's finding that challenging. You know what I mean? Like, she's like, I'm not enjoying that. Like, it's hard to enjoy the film with so much of that stuff in it. And I mean, I can't disagree. Like I can sort of, I guess cause they exist and I know they get better and they become more mindful and less like that. But yeah, I mean, that's very much like at the forefront of the viewing experiences at the moment. So I wonder if these 70s ones are going to be a little tough.
Yeah. Well, what I would say is Live and Let Die, and with The Man with the Golden Gun, you kind of have to tough it out. For Man with the Golden Gun is worth watching because Christopher Lee is the villain.
Oh, cool.
Spy Who Loved Me is probably Moore's best one.
Okay.
And they do get better. Although Moonraker is Moonraker. However, the kind of the rapiness is something that stays throughout his tenure, and it's weird how like you don't get the same sense from the Connery ones.
Yeah, he's more like he's behaving inappropriately.
Yeah, 100%.
It's more like he's kind of a, yeah.
I don't know. For some reason, the Moore ones, he's like, all right, come on, let's go.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about it. I don't know. But yeah, so the the Roger Moore ones can be kind of a hill to get past. But my point is, I watched the 2 Timothy Dalton ones with Mikhail, and God, those movies are so good. I love them. So I'm looking forward to you getting there.
Me too. I'm sure I'm going to find things to enjoy in the Roger Moore one, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the Dalton ones because of your recommendations, and I've not seen one frame of those, and I'm kind of excited to see a series. I mean, because I don't have a lot of context for the Moore ones either, but I have no context for these Dalton ones, and I feel like I'm going to be seeing something for me that's brand new, and I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Well, keep me posted.
Absolutely.
And that wraps up our discussion of The Last of Us and also James Bond films.
Yeah,
the unplanned tangent. If you have thoughts on The Last of Us, let us know. I know a lot of our listeners are big fans of the game, so I would love to get your thoughts on that. And we'll be back soon we will be back with a commentary.
We will be back.
Our next commentary is going to be Brian, The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi. It's fresh in my mind too. I just rewatched it when I was sick.
So I certainly have lots to say about that film. I'm assuming Brian will have reposts to what I have to say.
I mean, speaking of a film that personally speaking, I think my thoughts on it change every year, so I'm really looking forward to talking through it with you.
What's funny to me is that on social media, I would say, I to whatever extent I talk about The Last Jedi, which I don't think is a ton, but when I do, I'm very complimentary about it. And John Glover, who follows me on Twitter, one of the most frequent interactions I have with him is him being like, "No, this movie sucks. Stop talking about it."
Oh, are you serious? Yes. Oh, that's what does 21-year-old Zaki think about that? That's amazing.
It's so funny to me.
That's amazing.
So people have opinions. People are very passionate, and I respect John Glover very much. So, yeah. I enjoy that he has very strong feelings about it as well. But that will be our next commentary. So I'm looking forward to coming back talking about that. But Brian, I'm hoping that we can crank these out with a little bit more frequency in the weeks and months ahead.
Absolutely.
We gave ourselves a little break in January, but we're back and ready to play.
Absolutely. I'm like so ready. I'm ready to go another 2 hours, honestly.
Well, hopefully soon. So if you have any questions or comments for us, folks, please email us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit like on our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast, and message us there. If you're looking for me online, you can find me on Twitter at Zaki's Corner. That's ZAKIS Corner. And you can go to the San Francisco Chronicle, read my review of the new series Wolfpack, which is a werewolf series created by the guy who created Teen Wolf, but it is not in any way related to Teen Wolf, except that it's about a group of teen wolves.
Interesting. So you found like a whole new angle with that specificity. Well, okay. I
think whole and new and angle are doing
that. I just think it's interesting that, he has a teen wolf universe set up, and it's interesting that he had something that he felt stories he couldn't fit into that universe, so he had to create a new one to tell teen wolf stories. That's interesting. Yes.
And I would add that the words new and universe are doing a lot of lifting there, because not particularly new, and I don't know that we needed a whole universe for this.
Sure.
In addition, I also reviewed Teen Wolf the movie, and you can read my thoughts on that at IGN. So it has been a wolf week for me.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And I am werewolfed out. What do you have going on?
Well, Puppy Dog Pals actually had its series finale air, which is absolutely wild.
My 9-year-old will be crushed.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing how many episodes we have. I don't remember. I wrote 50 50 episodes of that show.
Amazing.
And yeah, gosh, I mean, it was like 2017, I want to say, when I started on that. And it's just wild, 2023, and it's last episode airing. So, and I have people text me all the time. Just like 2 weeks ago, a friend of mine that I grew up with sent me a video of her daughter running into the living room and going, "Puppies!" and then running to the couch and turning on, facing the television, because that means turn on Puppy Dog Pals for me. So there's something really sweet and fun about knowing that, on Disney Plus, it will live on, and kids who weren't even born when the series started are getting something out of it. So quite a ride. But yeah, that's, I think, reruns and whatnot are on Disney Channel, Disney Junior, but Disney Plus is where it's going to live on.
Well, there we go. And with that, I'm going to put a pin in episode 262 of this show. And let's come back soon and talk through some other fun stuff, all right?
Sounds good.
Talk to you soon.
Welcome, friends, it's the MovieFilm Podcast. MovieFilm Podcast, enjoy the show. Zaki and Brian are talking about movies. MovieFilm Podcast on the radio.